up, boys, let it noise.
For now, found the system for the new era.
Hello everyone, my name is Prila Silsana Dewi, my name. Hello everyone, my name is Salsa Villa, my name.
Come on, it's time to do English conversation. Hello everyone, welcome to the Nyam Podcast.
Hello, I'm Prila.
And I'm Bila.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Campus Inside Podcast with me. I'm Prila, your host for today's episode. Today we are going to dive deep into a very hot, controversial and highly debated topic that has been buzzing around our campus corporate and class WhatsApp group. Yes, we are talking about the use of artificial intelligence or AI in academic activities. To help us break this down critically, sharply, and academically, I am joined by our awesome guest speaker, Bila. Hi Bila, how are you today?
Hi Prila, I'm doing great, feeling amazing today. Thank you so much for having me here. Honestly, I was so excited when I found out we were going to discuss topic. As university students, we realized that AI technology is completely shaping how we handle our daily college assessments nowadays.
It definitely is, Gil. Everywhere we look, students are using AI tools for translate, checking grammar, brainstorming, or even generating full easy. Now, as a start, what is your overall take on permitting AI in academic activities? Is it blessing that boosts our productivity, or is it threat that ruins our core learning mindset?
That's an excellent question, Prila. If we look at it from objective academic standpoint, I believe AI can incredible, powerful, and helpful tool as long as it's used wisely and responsible. I recently read research across published by Holmes and College. In that study, is explained that AI technology has a high potential of provide highly personalized learning support for a student. For instance, AI can act as to 24/7 virtual tutor when we are studying late at night for exam, and there's a complex concept that we didn't quite catch from our lecture. We can simply ask AI to explain it using simple language.
Okay, I see your point about the 24/7 tutor. It is independent, very efficient. But Bill, let's look at the chrysalis. Don't this axiom convention makes to the lazy? If all the methods are being spoon-fed by AI, where is the actual learning process? What about the effort of searching for materials, reading the library books, and analyzing problems independently?
Well, that's exactly where we need to draw the line, Prila. In the book titled Artificial Intelligence in Education written by Lacan, it strongly emphasizes that the main goal of developing AI is not to replace human intelligence, but to augment for complete its so essential its work invention. When students use AI strictly as an agent, for example, to correct grammatical errors, suggest a net writing structure, or short-track hundreds of relevant academic journals, this save an enormous amount of line. They can use that extra time to focus on what matters most, critical thinking and deep data analysis. So it's about smart collaboration, not giving up entirely to amazing.
Interesting. You emphasize the word smart collaboration, but feel really on the ground of often not as beautiful as the terrace in the books. We cannot ignore the dark side of AI, which is the massive risk of plagiarism, data manipulation, and academic dishonesty. Many lecturers complain that students assessment nowadays sound so right and inaccurate because they just copy paste raw responses straight from ChatGPT or Gemini. without any editing. Students end up knowing absolutely nothing about their own work. If this copy-paste generation trend continues, it is sign of disaster for the quality of our education.
I completely agree and share your concern regarding that issue, Prila. It is indeed one of the biggest challenges of disadvantage we face today. In fact, an academic journal from IEEE Translation of Education highlights that weak critical use of AI directly leads to decline in authentic writing skill and read student. Critical thinking when students use the really text words to think for them, they completely bypass the struggling path of learning, yet the exact have actuated when structuring sentence and analyzing theories is what actually shapes our brains to become smarter. So yes, it's hit highly the magic it uses to cheat.
Right, so if the risks are the fatal to student cognitive development and academic integrity, why should campus just take a strict shortcut like completely banning all types of EA tools on campus to discipline to students? What do you think?
In my personal opinion, supported by current global education trends, a total ban on AI is highly unrealistic and honestly a bit outdated. Like it or not, AI is the future and a part of technological advancement that we cannot stop. Scholar or let the professional work environment will utilize AI anyway. Therefore, the best way out our universities is not to block the technology, but to decrease the regulation and educate students about what we call AI literacy.
Could you clarify that, Bill? What does concrete form of EA literally look like?
It means that campus institution must teach students how to use AI ethically, for example, how to verify data from AI, how to properly cite AI as a research assistant, and enforcing a rule that the large portion of any assessment must still heavily consistent of original talks, analysis, that argument from the student. That way, lecturers are still guarding human capability, not robot typing.
Wow, outstanding! That was a highly opening and conversational explanation. Bila, so the bottom line of our exciting conversation today is AI can be an incredibly actually servant to boost our productivity, but it will become a terrible and discursive master if we let control use. The catalyst in ethics, self-control, and our commitment to maintaining our human critical thinking.
Spot on, Prila. Use AI as stepping stone to help you learn faster, not as shortcut to cheat.
Alright everyone, that brings us to the end of our deep discussion regarding the use of EA on campus for today's episode. Thank you so much, Bila, for taking the time and sharing such well supported academic insights with you today. To all our viewers at home, remember Bila advice, stay critical, stay creative, and always maintaining your academic essays. I'm Rila.
And I'm Bila.
We'll see you in the next Accessly topic this session. Bye bye.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Nyam Nyam Podcast. Woo! Hello everyone, my name is Bila and I will be your host today. Okay guys, today we are going to discuss the impact of fuel price increase. This topic is very important because fuel is something we use every day. We use fuel to go to school, travel, and transport goods. So when fuel prices increase, many people feel that impact. Today I am with my guest Prila. Okay, Prila, how are you today?
Hello Bila, I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here and share my opinion.
Okay, Prila, thank you for coming. Before we talk about the impact, can you explain what a fuel price increase is?
Sure, a full price increase means the government or full companies raises the price of gasoline or diesel. There are many reasons for this. For example, the price of crude oil in the world market goes up. The value of the local quarries become weaker or the government reduces fuel subsidies. When this happens, people need to pay more money to buy fuel.
Ah, I see. So, why do you think this topic is important for society?
Because fuel is connected to almost everything. Many people use motorcycle, cars, buses, or truck every day. Companies also use fuel to deliver products. If fuel becomes more expensive, transportation becomes more expensive too. In the end, the prices of many products also increases. So almost everyone feels the impact.
Okay, Priya, let's talk about the economic impact first. What happens to the economy when fuel price increase?
The economy can become more deficient, transportation cost increases, factories spend more money to produce goods, delivery service also become more expensive. Because of this, many business increases the prices of their products. Food, drinks, clothes, vegetables, and many daily necessities become more expensive. Families have to spend more money every month. Some people even reduce their spending because they need to save money.
Yes, many people complain about that. How does it affect students like us?
Students are also affected. Many students go to campus by motorcycle or public transportation. When fuel prices increases, transportation cost also increases. Students who receive money from their parents might need to manage their budget more carefully. Some students bring lunch from home instead of buying food. Some students reduce hanging out with friends or buying unnecessary things. For students who have part-time jobs, transportation costs also reduces their income.
Yeah, that's true. I think many students have the same experience. Now, let's think about workers. What problem the workers face?
Workers also face many challenges. Many people travel long distances every day. They need more money for fuel or bus ticket. If the salary does not increase, it becomes harder to pay for food, electricity, rent, and other needs. Some workers even look for overtime or extra jobs to earn more money. This situation can also make people feel stressed because their expenses keep increasing.
Besides workers, how about small business?
Small businesses are one of the groups that feel the biggest impact. For example, food sellers, online shop owner, delivery driver, and farmers. They need fuel for transportation. When fuel prices increases, their cost also increases. Some business owners increases product prices. Others keep the same prices but receive less profit. But costs are deficient because they can lose customer or less income.
Some people also say full price increase can affect inflation. Can you explain that?
Yes, inflation means the prices of goods and services continue to increase. Fuel is one of the main factors because transportation is needed everywhere. When transportation becomes more expensive, many products also become more expensive. This is why fuel prices often affect inflation. According to the World Bank, higher fuel prices can reduce people's purchasing power because they need to spend more money on daily needs.
That's very interesting. Besides the economy, does it also affect the environment?
Yes, it does. Some people might decide to use public transportation instead of private vehicles. Others might start using bicycle, walking, or electric vehicles. This can reduce fuel consumption and air pollution. According to the International Energy Agency, reducing fuel use can help lower carbon emissions and protect the environment. So even though fuel price increases are deficient, they can encourage people to save energy.
That's good point. Do you think full price increase that have any positive effects?
Yes, people become more careful when using fuel. Many families start making better financial plans. Some people share rides with friends or use public transportation more often. Companies also try to find more efficient ways to reduce transportation costs. In the future, this can encourage this use of renewable energy and electric vehicles.
What should the government do to help people?
I think the government should provide full subsidies for low-income families. The government should also improve public transportation so people have cheaper and better choice. Support for electric vehicles and renewable energy is also important. In addition, the government can help small business by providing financial support of business programs. This action can reduce the burden on society.
What can people do to deal with fuel price increases?
People should use fuel wisely. They should avoid unnecessary trips. They can use public transportation, share vehicles with friends, or work from home if possible. Families should also make a monthly budget and spend money carefully. Small changes can help save money.
Thank you, Prilla. Before we end this podcast, what is your final opinion about this topic?
In my opinion, fuel price increases bring many challenges. Father, workers, family, and business owners all feel the impact. Life become more expensive and people need to manage their money carefully. However, this session can also teach you to save energy, use public transportation, and think about better solutions for the future. If the government and society work together, I believe we can reduce the negative effect of fuel price increases.
Thank you so much, Prilla. I really enjoyed our discussion today. I hope our listeners also learned something useful.
Thank you, Dila. It was a pleasure to be here. I hope this session helped everyone understand more about the impact of fuel prices increases.
Thank you to everyone for listening to our podcast today. We hope you enjoyed this discussion. Don't forget to see you again in our next podcast. And have this, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for following the Nyam Nyam Podcast until the end. I'm Prila.
And I'm Bila.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.